My name is Georgia. I am 31 years old, and I have always been the kind of woman who believes in love. I believe in loyalty, in trust, and in the idea that the person you choose to spend your life with would never truly hurt you. That belief is what made everything that happened so painful. My husband Wilson was 35 years old, tall, charming, and full of laughter. At every dinner party, at every family gathering, he was the one who made everyone smile. People admired us. They called us the perfect couple, and for a long time I believed that too. But something slowly began to change. Wilson started coming home late, night after night, without any real explanation. His shoes were always dirty, and when I asked him about it, he brushed my questions away. I found strange items hidden in the basement once, and he told me it was just old junk. I wanted to believe him. I told myself I was being paranoid. He was my husband, my protector. He loved me. I was sure of it. Then, one evening, everything fell apart in an instant. I was cleaning the kitchen after dinner. Wilson's briefcase slipped off the counter and hit the floor. Papers scattered everywhere. I knelt down to pick them up. And that is when I saw it. A newspaper article, folded and worn. The headline read, "Serial Killer Attacks Again." Police confused. My eyes moved to the photograph. My hands went cold. The man in that picture looked exactly like Wilson. I could not breathe. I sat there on the kitchen floor, staring at that photograph for what felt like forever. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I read every word of that article. I read about the murders, about the victims, about how the police had no real leads. And I kept looking at that face in the photo, the same jaw, the same eyes, the same man who kissed me goodbye every morning. I told myself I was imagining things. I folded the article and put it back. I said nothing at dinner. But I could not stop thinking about it. In the days that followed, I began paying closer attention. Wilson received strange phone calls. He always left the room to answer them. When I asked simple questions, he became irritated and cold. He locked himself in his study for hours. The warm, funny man I had married felt like a stranger. Our home, which had once felt safe and full of love, began to feel like a place I was trapped in. I had no one to talk to. I was too afraid of being wrong. So I kept my fears locked inside and watched him carefully, waiting for something. One night, while Wilson was out, I made a decision. I walked into his study and began to search. My hands trembled as I moved through stacks of papers and old files. I almost convinced myself there was nothing to find. Then, in the corner of a shelf, I noticed a wooden box. I opened it slowly. Inside were newspaper clippings about the murders, crime scene photographs, and written notes in Wilson's own handwriting describing the killer's methods in careful, almost admiring detail. He had written about how the killer was smart, how the killer was difficult to catch, how the killer had reasons for what he did. I felt the room spin around me. I had been living beside this man, sleeping next to him, trusting him with my life, And this was who he truly was. I heard the front door unlock. I closed the box quickly, but not quickly enough. Wilson walked in and looked at me. His expression shifted the moment he saw my face. I held up one of the articles with shaking hands. "I found this," I said. "I know about the murders." The warmth drained from his face. His eyes went cold in a way I had never seen before. He told me I should not have gone through his things. I asked him directly, my voice barely holding together, whether he was the one responsible. He did not deny it. He said he had reasons. He said I did not understand. Something inside me broke in that moment. Not just my heart, but the version of my life I had believed in. All those years, all that love, and it had all been built on something terrifying. I picked up my phone and called the police. Wilson tried to stop me, reaching for the phone, his voice turning threatening, but I moved away and gave the dispatcher our address. I begged them to hurry. When the sirens came, I stood in the doorway and watched the police take him away. He never looked back at me. He was not sorry. There were no tears from him, no final words of regret, just silence and cold eyes as they put him in the car. I cooperated with the police fully. I handed over everything I had found. I sat in a courtroom and watched the man I had once loved be sentenced to life in prison. It was one of the hardest things I have ever done, and also one of the most necessary. After it was over, I left that house on Elm Street and never returned. I moved to a new city, found a job, and slowly began building a life that was entirely my own. New friends came into my life and held me steady during the nights when the memories came back too strong. Healing was not quick, and it was not easy. There were mornings when the grief felt unbearable, and evenings when I questioned every choice I had ever made. One afternoon, I went to visit Wilson in prison. I needed to see him one last time, I think, to close something inside myself. He sat across from me with the same empty eyes. No remorse, no acknowledgement of the pain he had caused. I walked out of that prison with tears on my face, but also with something I had not expected to feel so soon: peace. I had done the right thing, even when it cost me everything. I had loved deeply and been terribly betrayed, but I had not let that love make me blind forever. At some point, truth becomes louder than fear, and you have to choose which one you will listen to. I am not afraid anymore. I am still healing, and I think part of me always will be, but I am also still standing. And sometimes that is the bravest thing a person can do.